We'll try and make the time to go on like a Saturday
to get a haircut.
to get a haircut from the guy that does my hair. He does really nice hair. Everybody seems to like the way I do it. And then my wife does. My mum does too.
Wait, they like your hair?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. The people who really matter. Welcome everybody!
Hello!
It's what's the show called again?
State of the Beanstalk.
Ah, that's right.
Ah, yes.
Because we're the beans and we talk. Talking
Exactly.
beans. Welcome, we've got a humongous show for you today. It is actually going to be huge because... Oh, I need to turn the lights on, Casper.
What
That's
lights?
why. We show can't start.
Yes, can't start without the lights.
Flick the switch.
Hold on, that's the magic switch.
Wait for it, everyone.
And go!
Isn't that better? Did you see the change? It's magnificent. No, nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
I think the light. I think the fact that it's daytime. We are starting at an hour that is hopefully good for a lot of people.
Yes.
4 o'clock in Western Standard Time, and then what is it?
6 o'clock in the east, is it?
7.
7. Thank you. We just had a confirmation from the...
Confirmation, yeah.
From the
No, it does
crowd.
look better. It does. The lighting does look better. So we've got AMD news, big Navi. Obviously, we've had the announcement, so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to analyze the benchmarks
Oh, yes.
before reviewers get their hands on it. That will be fun.
And before you splash your good cash on it.
Oh, and then maybe we're going to talk about how buying a 3000 series is not the best idea right now.
Oh, controversial.
Controversial. And then we've got some news about Xbox X doing some ray tracing those rays.
Oh, yes. I want to see what it's like in action. I'm thinking it's going to tank hard.
Yeah, so we're going to have a look at that. And we just did a bit of a comparison, and the game that we were going to be looking at is Watch Dogs Legions, and we did a bit of a comparison on my 3090.
Yeah.
And what was your comment?
It looks chunky.
Chunkalicious, 30 frames a second on a 3090.
It looks
Can you believe
console performance, current gen.
I might as well just get a console and put it in this area here.
Yeah, there you go. Save yourself a couple of grand.
Literally.
Yeah.
Multitude of thousands. So 2,000. So it's 750 for an Xbox X?
Yeah.
So yeah.
$750.
Save yourself 2,000, get an Xbox X. But irregardless to all that conversation, because we are the PC Master Race, let's roll the intro. Where's the intro button? Ooh, and we're back.
Hello, welcome back.
Welcome everybody. Welcome Pokéwood Theatre. Hello. We've got some awesome
Fantastic news that we've just told you about, and which one we were gonna start with first.
Should we do AMD Radeon? I think. Oh, actually no. Let's get the smaller one out of the
Alright,
way,
let's get the peasantry out of the way.
because I feel like we're going to be talking about the AMD side for a little while. So let's look at two things that I had earmarked for a little talk.
Yes.
And that is hackers and Xboxes, but very separate. So let's have a look at that.
Hacking boxes, excellent.
So Xbox X is very much
It's
close
weird
to...
when you call it Xbox X. I'm like, Xbox Series X? I'm just so used to hearing that series.
Oh, is it supposed to be series or is it just X?
Yeah, series. I guess, I don't know. I guess you could call it Xbox X, right?
I prefer Xbox X.
Because the Xbox One X is the one before it.
Yeah, the naming...
Xbox X.
The naming by Microsoft is absolutely horrible.
Oh, it's disgusting, right?
At least Sony just goes, yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you know what? I'm going to take a guess.
The next one might be like, what?
6?
Maybe.
You reckon? No,
Yeah,
it'll be like...
It'll be 6.
It'll be 5SX. Da-da.
Because they got this. What is it? They got the patents for 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, and I bet you 10's just going to be X. PlayStation X.
Xboxes will be like, no, that's our thing. Don't do that.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Gee, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
do you reckon? So if they get to 10, do you think they'll do 10 or they'll do an X?
I think they'll do 10.
Okay.
But the question is, am I still going to be alive?
Well, if it's every 7 years,
That's another 35 years of consoles.
That's not too bad. You'll live.
Whoa, I'll be retired.
Yeah, and
Hopefully.
you'll be able to play the 10 when it comes out. So Xbox Series X. There you go. I've said it properly.
Oh, you did. Well done.
Did a little bit of an example of what Watch Dogs might look like with ray tracing.
This is actually captured on Series X. But tell me, how many frames?
Well, first of all, it's a variable refresh rate, so we don't actually exactly know if it's going to be 30 or if it's going to be 60. Well, okay. So I just ran a 3090, right? A $2,750 card on a
Cha-ching.
1440p screen.
Yep.
And everything maxed out in that game, including ray tracing to Ultra, was it?
Yeah.
Or medium?
I think it was medium. Ray
Medium.
tracing, yeah.
34. That's it. 34.
34 frames. 34 frames.
I thought we were on the
my
topic
God.
of 34. So
yeah, 34.
34
Wow.
frames. How ridiculous.
That is horrible.
So yeah,
And that's why. Why is that?
why?
Yeah.
Why would that be? Oh, it's probably because of my CPU.
Because the CPU's bottlenecking. So this is like bottlenecking at its finest.
Oh, do you know what? Oh, there's some exciting stuff I wanted to say for another video.
Yeah, okay.
But I think it's only fair that I share it with you. Maybe I won't be able to share my screen. But last night I managed to get my hands on a 3080.
Yeah.
Right? And I managed to do some benchmarks against
yeah,
a 3090.
I saw you unboxing it. Oh, you actually have benchmarks. You got
I have
scores.
benchmarks.
All right.
So I did the Time Spy 3D mark.
Give me some comparisons.
And hang on, can I share this? Let me just see if I can share this with you guys.
Yeah.
Window capture. Okay, there we go. This is a result.
Okay, 12,000. So how good is that? 12,000.
Okay, but don't worry about the number.
Oh, okay.
This is an Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080, right?
Yep.
An Intel Core i7-7700K.
Oh wow, ancient.
Well, it is
technology.
ancient. It's multitude of years
Yeah.
old. I love the word multitude today, by the way.
Yeah, very good.
So it's a lot of years old, and it got a graphics score of 16,000, and then the CPU score, I think, I don't know how they work
Oh
out this
wow,
12,000.
a quarter of the graphics score.
Yeah, I don't know how they work it out, but
Yeah.
that's the score. Now tell me, what do you think this exact system with a 7700K got with the 3090? Give me the score.
I want to say almost 14,000.
14,000, right?
Yeah, 14,000,
Okay, so
yeah.
Casper's got 14,000. Anybody in chat want to put a number before I reveal this?
Yeah, chat, tell us numbers.
I will slow down because I did turn on this thing called latency control, or like
Right.
latency fast, so we should be able to get responses some quick. But if we go, and can I open this separately, or does it open up? Oh, it has separately.
What? This doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense, but I'm going to show everybody what it is, and that is...
Da, 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 da. There it is.
That's right. That 3090 got 10,468 points.
That makes no sense whatsoever. Why is that?
That,
case?
my friend, is what a bottleneck looks like.
So, let me get this straight. You're getting better performance from a worse GPU. Why? But like I thought, okay, so a bottleneck is the way that we understand it is, there's performance and it's getting like stopped, or I get slowed down
Yeah.
because by the other components. But why is there less performance on a more performance on a less powerful card? I thought the bottleneck is it's a constant. I thought a bottleneck is a constant.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair point. Because in reality, if you had a bottleneck, it literally is like a physical bottleneck. But
Yeah.
in the CPU and GPU world, the bottleneck itself is more or less like it's like a highway, right?
Yeah.
With the amount of space you have, but it also depends on the cars you allow to drive on it.
Right.
So that CPU has a limit, let's say, of 100 k's an hour that the cars can get through, and you've got 10 lanes.
Yeah.
Right? This is real simplification. And the cars that are being put on it are cars that are very efficient at 100 k's.
Right.
Now, let's say you put a 3090 in, and the cars that it's sending out of its data bank they're very, very fast cars, and they can go from 1 kilometer an hour to 200, but they're only really efficient at 150. Now,
Okay.
because the highway is a maximum of 100 and you've still got the 10 lanes, all your cars are going now at 100 and are very, very inefficient. So in fact, they're actually slowing down.
Oh, right. Okay, so yeah, so when you get that effect on the highway where like the cars stop and then you get that snail, not snail,
The ripple
snake,
effect,
the
yeah.
ripple effect. So this is what's happening.
Yeah,
because there's so much power trying to push through, it's actually getting slowed down more than something that's at a more consistent flow.
That's correct.
Ha. Okay.
So like in a physical bottleneck, the more water you push through it, technically, yeah, it might go faster, but it's still only allowing that much.
Yeah. So so my theory that I mentioned before with the 3090, when it was being talked about on like, you know, the Linus show and all the people that were reviewing it, the full potential is not going to be seen until we have a CPU that is capable of withstanding the power that's being pushed through.
So this is my theory. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you brought that up because I actually didn't think we were going to talk about this, but this is my theory. If we get a CPU that's more powerful than what we have right now and match it with a 3090, which could be next week, which we could see next week,
Yes.
we could potentially have to redo the stats and reviews of 3090s.
Yeah, I think so. I imagine like Jay's 2 cents and Linus talking about it and being like, well, actually, you look at the 3090 now and the performance is astronomical.
And I want to show you another stat that I got from let me just share this. This is from Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, Shadow Tomb Raider.
Is this the one? No, this one? Oh, it's not working. Hang on.
Oh no, it's broken.
Yeah, it's not sharing the screen, so let me just try that again.
Okay. Why doesn't it just show the actual...
The full screen, the desktop?
Yeah.
Oh, because then it goes across the whole ultra-wide and looks really terrible.
Break your mind seeing
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So let me try that again. Window capture,
Okay.
photos.
So what am I looking at here? This is like a GIF? What do you call it? A GIF?
Oh, I'll have to zoom in. Oh, I can't share it. What the hell's going on? Why isn't it letting me share it? Hang on. We got this. I have to sort this out, but
Okay.
let me just delete that for now. And I'll just put in another one called the desktop capture.
Okay.
Window capture, video,
Wow, it's quite odd how you have
display
to
capture.
set it up to actually be able to see individual photos
There
on
we
the
go.
screen. Okay.
Alright, so what are we looking
Right.
at here? This is Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and I'll zoom
Right.
it in even more.
Okay, so it's showing me average FPS of 57.
That's right. And over here, we look at some of the spikes of the CPU, the GPU, and so on. And we can see here that there is a GPU bound of 64%.
Right.
Now, this result here is the Nvidia 3080.
Yeah.
Now, this percentage needs to be closest to 100%.
Oh, okay. So it's
99.
saying that only 64% of the potential power of the GPU is being utilized. Is that what it's telling me?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So there's still about 30% more that's being unused.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
It's just not. It's not even getting close. And look, we have RTX DLSS off, so that means it's not performance mode. We've got. I don't even think we have.
Oh, this is good. This is
Yeah.
a good indication. So in essence, if you had the perfect CPU, you'd be getting about 70 frames on this.
Yeah. So now let's look at what this GPU bound number looks
Yeah.
like with the 3090.
Okay.
60%.
Oh, right. So that's another 40% that you could get on top of that.
Yeah.
So
Potentially.
that would be another like 20 frames. So you'd be like closer to 80 average FPS.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right.
Wow. That's awesome. That's fantastico.
Yeah.
All right. So what's where were we going with this? What's the next? Oh yeah, of course, Legion. Watch Dogs
Right.
Legion.
Let me now turn off the display sharing. Where is it?
Yeah, so we can see the
Yeah,
the
so we're back to here.
news.
So
Okay.
Watchdog Legions, right?
Yeah.
We're running here, and it says captured on Xbox Series X.
Oh, it says below it, version of the game runs at full 4K and a consistent 30 FPS.
Okay, so 4K 30,
Yeah.
which is impressive. So RDNA 2 on an Xbox can run this at 4K a consistent 4K.
Yeah, and look, just below that, they say that they've been playing Watch Dogs Legion on a 3090 with ultra setting and maxed out at ray tracing 1440p at 55 FPS. So, and that's probably on the Zen 2 CPU, I want to say, that they've been playing.
You reckon Zen 2?
Yeah, I reckon Zen 2, they probably had, I'm going to say a 3600 because that's probably the most popular Zen 2 CPU.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're close to 60 FPS on the 1440p.
Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
I'm 20 frames off what they're getting
Yeah.
because of my CPU.
So I reckon if you get a Zen 3, you're probably looking at close to 70 FPS.
I reckon, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've got a video of the RTX 3090 being utilized, and all I have to say is the game is absolutely gorgeous in regards to the ray tracing. I wouldn't say the game itself is beautiful because I think there's a lot of weird. It just, the textures felt a little bit weird, so I finally got the HD texture pack, and I didn't really see it today when I ran through it. But I guess overall the game looks very beautiful because of the ray tracing, and I think a lot of games will actually get heaps of.
It's got that Ubisoft jank to it.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, there's just... Oh man, I just think these games, they need a lot of optimization when they get released, don't they?
Well, that's what I was going to add to it. So the Xbox X obviously has a bunch of optimizations that are done that a lot of other games on PC will ever get. The fact that Xbox, the Microsoft team, can put so much effort into optimizing for one console will make it play a lot better. So 4K at 30 with ray tracing is actually really impressive. Anyway, that's what I was getting at. It's really impressive they can get that because a $207,050 graphics card
GPU,
cannot really, it probably can achieve 30 frames at 4K.
Wow.
But that's the card that can achieve it, and it costs $2,700. Then the Xbox X is looking like a very good option.
Absolutely. I mean, okay, so it's running a Zen 2 CPU, and it's got RDNA graphics card, which is probably, I want to say, half or less than half the power of what you have. It's probably like 40% of the actual power, maybe 50%.
Maybe, yeah. And remember optimizations, and there's a lot of variable, like they'll probably scale down some of the textures to make it run better. Because remember, at the end of the day, when you're at 4K, you need high quality textures, but you can also fool the system or the game engine in some ways to for render distances and so on.
Yeah.
And because they have that high speed CPU, not PCU, SSD access. That actually means that they can access the information quicker, and that's not a bottleneck anymore for them. So you shouldn't be getting popping. Except, remember when they revealed the Halo game and there was just crazy popping happening everywhere?
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was a gross game.
So, yeah, that I think that's really cool. I guess a lot of people, and we'll talk about this when we talk about the Radeon cards, but I think a lot of people who bought the 3090 might be kicking themselves, but there is a couple of reasons why I think not. But there is a lot of reasons why they should be kicking themselves. And AMD has really done well.
Yes.
Any final thoughts on this? What do you reckon? Are you going to get the game?
Get the game?
Yeah.
Probably not. I don't think it's a game that really appeals to me that much. What I've heard from other people, and this is how I visualized it as well, is that there's not much buy-in because you don't have the one and only character that you can be invested in. You have a roster of characters that you build, and the roster may change, especially if you have permadeath in the game. But it looks awesome, but I think I want to try Valhalla instead.
Oh, really?
That's what I know. I know it looks super jank, but it's not the final version yet, and people have been saying that it's all right. Like it looks all right and it feels all right. I want to try something. I want to try an Assassin's Creed game that I haven't played in a while.
You're saying Assassin's Creed over this?
Yeah. I'm feeling I will play Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Wow.
This.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, let us know in the comments if what you guys would choose, Assassin's Creed or Watch Dogs Legions. Now, Watch Dogs 1 was horrible. Watch Dogs 2 was better. When I saw this come out, I completely ignored it. And the only reason I have it and got to test it is because it came with the card with RTX 3000 series. It's a free game. Yeah. That's probably the only way they're going to actually get it across to people. I don't think it's going to be a big seller. Honestly, though. There is another game.
Yeah.
Ghost Runner.
Oh yes, looks so good. Amazing. You were just showing me before.
You should stream it when you get home.
I was overwhelmed by how hectic the gameplay is.
Yeah, it's hectic. It's awesome, but it should be played on a high resolution monitor, which you do have.
I do 4K.
Yeah, finally.
My GPU will struggle though.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to a little story about the Oculus. So, okay, let me pose this to you because I don't.
Okay.
Are you aware of what's happening with the Oculus Quest? So,
I have no idea. I don't follow VR at all.
okay, so the Oculus Quest is like a wireless VR where you chuck it on your head and it's got a phone thing inside, I think, or it's got some sort of system inside and can run very basic looking games, but it's pretty fun. It's quite popular and it's really good to use. You can watch Netflix on it. You can watch YouTube in VR. It's actually really cool.
Is it watching Netflix in VR?
Yeah.
What's that like? You're like in a cinema.
Yeah,
or something?
that's right.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It's awesome. It looks awesome, but you need a high resolution, screen in front of you.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of issues with that. Now,
so it doesn't come with a screen?
It does.
It does.
It does.
Okay,
It's a all in one. It's an all in one.
It's an all in one. Okay.
I think you don't even need a PC on this one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, Facebook, in all its wisdom, decided that to load up games onto this, you have to have a Facebook account. Just like when you buy a Google Android phone, you kind of need Google to really unlock its full potential, right?
Right.
Just like you buy an Apple phone, you know. Oh yeah, Joe Blog says you can connect it to a PC for Quest 2, which is cool.
Oh, all right.
So there's obviously a little bit of a theme here. Big companies like to use their own logins and all that.
Yeah.
The only problem is when you buy a game for a Quest, you have to log in through your Facebook. And there used to be a store that had games that wasn't connected to the Facebook store, and now people are losing their purchases because they're not wanting to log in with their Facebook account.
Whoa.
So,
okay.
So that's a huge thing. The fact that you're forcing me to go in there, log in through my Facebook, so you now know my information. You now know what VR games I play. It's in the scheme of things, it's not. It's just another way they invade your privacy to get data on you. But from another point of view, it's like, why should I? Why do I need to be forced to log in through a device that didn't have it before, right?
So these games are associated with Facebook?
Well, they're on the Facebook marketplace, the store.
Okay,
right?
That makes sense then. I understand why they would go and do that.
Yeah. And just like Joe says, you're not forced until 2023. But just to add to that, Joe, I'm sure you've read it, but people have been logging in with their Facebook accounts. And some people actually got their Facebook account, like the store, they lost all their purchases because they had removed their Facebook account. So let's say you're sick of Facebook, you want to remove your account, you delete your Facebook login, you also lose all your purchases.
Oh no.
So anyway, hackers have jailbroken a device, which means you don't have to use your Facebook login.
Yes.
Which is exactly what was going to happen. And
Yep.
people love going against the man, against the Facebook thing.
This is a great transition from Watchdog Legions to this. It's like hackers fighting the man.
Which is, Watch Dogs is exactly hackers fighting the government.
Yeah.
I'm all up for stuff like this because I hate being locked down. I hate...
Yeah, you can side quest instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate having to be forced to use something I don't want to use or can't be bothered to use just to... okay, I'll give you an example.
All right.
This is
the fancy laptop you have.
I have this laptop for review.
Oh, it looks so sick.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's stunning and brave.
Yeah.
And it's got a 2080 Max Q in there. Ooh. Microsoft, in their ultimate wisdom, has decided that if you do not log in through your personal Microsoft... if you do not log in through your Microsoft account, you can't boot into the machine. And there's all these other ways you have to get around it to boot in. But what I tried to do it, and obviously remove the internet connection, all that stuff. It logged me into this administrative portal of the people who set up from ASUS. It's like an ASUS administrative portal, an admin thing. And it's like, hey, log in as admin. It's just like Microsoft. Why can't I just log in with just a generic login, create the thing, start using it, and then if I want to use the Microsoft Store, let me log in. Same with this Oculus thing. Why can't I just use my Oculus games that I already have purchased through my Oculus account? And if I want more, then okay, yeah, I'll log in through Facebook, because then you're not forcing me to backtrack. You're actually going, okay, I'm locking you behind this paywall of logging through Facebook, and there's all this stuff. So, So the side quest I think is a side loader, is it? Joe Blog says, I have already purchased games through SideQuest because the approval process for Oculus games are 6 months and devs don't want to wait.
I can't believe they actually call it side quest.
Yeah, it's like side loading a game.
Wow.
Actually, this is the other thing with VR. The reason VR is in the state that it is right now, not that great. It's cool, but it's not that great. Is because you get companies like Oculus and Facebook, and they separate the ecosystems.
Yeah, I mean,
and there's already so little people using it.
Yeah, like somebody who doesn't use it like myself, I have, many reasons why I don't. I like my immersion, but I like to be kind of disconnected at the same time, or I like to be chilling, or I like to be aware of my surroundings, or, some people, they get vertigo or they feel sick using it as well. I feel it's just nice that I can appreciate the products around me that I'm utilizing as well. Like, a nice big TV, or that I can see the controller, or I can eat snacks and I can see them and smell them and just,
smell the snacks.
Yeah, smell the snacks. Just, yeah. I like the experience of being kind of like in the real world.
Sure. Look, what I would like to add to that, and I suppose I see your point.
Yeah.
And I completely agree, because I still game more on a system like this.
Yeah.
The VR is a completely different experience. I don't think it's supposed to replicate that experience of sitting back and enjoying a TV.
Yeah.
It's replicating an immersion that's different from what you get here. I think the argument to say, oh, well, I don't like doing that, it's like, well, yeah, but it's doing something completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, maybe you don't like it, but that's,
I wonder if it's going to be huge. Like, is it going to be the situation where we get curved TVs that were kind of phased out? Or is it actually going to push a lot further than that?
What do you mean? Like,
is this going to be massive? Because at the moment, VR is only like a 5% saturation on the market compared to all, your popular gaming or the. Yeah,
look, a big part of it is because you've got all these companies split off into their own little worlds, and it just separates the market, and innovation only happens when you combine smart people. The fact that I can't buy an Oculus game and play it on my HTC Vive is absolute crap.
Garbage.
Why? That game would love to sell it to more people on HTC Vive. Why wouldn't the developer... Anyway.
See, this is the other reason. It's in its infancy stage, so it's going through all these issues and teething problems.
That's right.
And this is why a lot of people are hesitant, because there's so much of the unknown and so many issues, and they're like, oh, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I get my games?
And look, Oculus is on the right track in regards to what they're doing, because they want to present an easy accessible VR experience where you don't need a super powerful computer, as opposed to HTC and Vive, where they want to go, okay, you've got a powerful computer, let's extend that experience into a very premium VR experience. So you have to have both the powerful PC and the Vive. Look, I think it's not going to get big very quickly. I think it's going to be a very slow burn.
Yeah, Joe says, I think 5% number is Steam sales and doesn't count Oculus, by the way. Yeah, I agree. Also, there's about a 5% on the actual PlayStation VR. I think they've sold like 5 million or so, and there's like 120 million consoles. So it's probably just under 5% of actual people who own one.
Yeah. So look, I think the fact that this is going to happen, like one day or another. Look, there's already pirated VR games. Like, you can pirate VR games and run it on your computer. It doesn't even run through Steam. So people do this a lot, but I think a lot of this stuff is created by Facebook. Like, this isn't a good thing for Facebook. It doesn't look good when people go against what they are forcing their users to do.
And this is why their stock price is not doing so well.
Oh,
because they've got all these issues going on.
Yeah, look, Facebook
and there's less and less people using Facebook, and this is a clear representation of it as well.
Did you hear that there's a massive drop in users in the United States and Canada?
Yeah.
Massive.
It's just, when you have access to all this data elsewhere and it's done in a nice format, why do I need to be on Facebook?
Yeah, it's incredible how...
I feel like Reddit is the new Facebook, or something along those lines,
Reddit is a cesspool of everything. Reddit is one of those places where you can get the Facebook experience on a very specific subreddit. And you just go, oh, that's all happy chappy. But then you can end up on subreddits that are just nuts.
And if you want endless media, you go to YouTube. YouTube is your place for all things media.
And YouTube is trying to be a social media platform, and I understand it because it's a social media platform to connect with other audiences. So like as you know, as us YouTubers, we talk to a lot of people, and the social groups, the circles get created amongst the creators, and then the people who like that type of stuff get together in that circle and then also sort of mingle in regards to that.
Yeah.
But that's not to say there's no bad things on YouTube, because there's a lot of bad things on YouTube too.
Really nice comment there from Andre de Jaeger. Look at that.
Hello, Techman Pat. I love your videos. Keep well. Thank you very much, Andre.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Very
You too,
nice.
Andre. Keep well. Yes, and especially in this world right now, we need to keep well.
Yeah.
But look, I think we've babbled on about
think,
VR.
yeah,
Let's
VR
move
to
into
the juicy stuff.
the juicy stuff.
I think the stuff that you all been waiting for as well to hear about, which is the what?
AMD easy as 1, 2, 3.
Oh man, yes, we have been waiting for this showcase for quite some time. And you know what? I think the closer that we got for the RDNA 2 reveal, the more confidence I had that they would be competing at the highest level. I'm talking the 3090.
Yeah.
Like my doubts were kind of starting to wash away to think, hey, no, okay, these guys might actually challenge each other blow for blow.
Yeah.
Like,
And they're, let's be clear, they are certainly challenging each other, but at this point in time, there is no clear winner just yet. Like, it's not like
Yes.
you can see AMD's kind of stuck it to Nvidia,
yes.
but it's not clear cut because
too early to
it's
say.
too early to tell.
Yeah.
And one thing, there's two things. Oh yeah, Patrick Davis. Pat, are you feeling robbed with 500 USD lower price
yeah,
tag?
how did you feel about that? Tell me.
Let's talk. Okay, you want to talk about it now?
Yeah.
I was just like-
I'm ready to hear the feels.
I was just like, lol, I've got my card, you don't.
Well, yeah, okay.
Like-
in terms of availability, yeah, it's gonna be impossible to get the 6900 XT, let alone any 3080 or 6800
Yeah.
XT.
Sorry, like, you know, look, I said earlier on when they were first announced I was going to get one. Then I thought, nah, I won't. But then I was like, I'm a man of my word.
Yeah, Jensen Huang, I promised you, and I'm gonna follow through with it.
Yeah. Oh, look. I'll give you a little bit of background also. I'm water cooling the whole system, and having the 3090 come early means I can put the Zen 3 in. I can water cool the whole loop, and I'll be done. And I don't have to be like, wait, have a janky setup as I do right now.
So janky.
And
It's like the Matrix over
yeah.
here.
And I just didn't feel like it. I don't really have the time. I work full time. I don't have the time to. That's the thing. Like, if you don't have the time, it is what it is. Graham says, I kind of feel robbed.
Oh, do you have a 3090 as well, Graham?
Yeah, let us know which one. I'd love to know which one. Okay, so let me ask you this. You've still got a order in for a $1,300 3080.
Yes,
The
3080.
3070 just came out. Costs around $1,100.
Yeah.
Or $1,000.
Oh, you can get 1000 as the cheapest one. Yeah. Cheapest model.
And then the cheapest 3080 is 1100.
3080, yeah, 1100, yep.
So how do you feel now? Are you considering to swap back to AMD? And also to add, PLE will let you swap. You can click swap.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But does that mean I will actually be able to move up in queue if I have been waiting for a long time? Or do I start afresh with the pre-order queue and it puts me all the way back at the end?
It puts you all the way at the back of the new card you choose.
Oh, that sucks.
That's
that
fair.
sucks.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
See, this is what really bothers me, because the way that things are going, I'm actually feeling that I might get a GPU sometime in the first quarter of 2021.
Is that your feeling?
It's going so slow, man. Like, it's just, you're not hearing about it. Like, where are these supplies? You know, they keep promising us, supplies are coming, but there's no supply at all.
So Joe yesterday came over and let me unbox his 3080.
How long was he waiting for that?
So he bought it the night that me, you, and him were trying to buy on release.
Right. Okay. And so that was in September?
September 28th? No.
End of September, was it?
Or 17th September or something like.
All right, mid-September.
Mid-September.
Okay, so that was mid-September, and now it's
Picked it up last night.
And now it's November tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time waiting.
That's a long time.
And he was
waiting.
one of the first. And then I did the 3090 on day dot, right? And that's why I got it literally a couple of weeks ago, like a week ago now, so 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and Patrick also says it's going to be ages till I can get my hands on the actual somewhat close to RRP 3070 or 6800.
Well, that's the thing. RRP is an imaginary little world somewhere else.
Yeah, which doesn't exist.
Who's bought a card at RRP in Australia?
Nobody.
So please tell me. I really want to know, because at the moment, there is no card at RRP anywhere. Because, first of all, Nvidia screwed us with the Founders Edition. They're
Yes.
like, hey, look, it's so cheap, but nobody's going to get any. Great, okay.
Yeah.
The AIB partners are like, well, crap, we have to put our prices up because we need to put in really nice cooling, and it's the cooling that's
Absolutely,
expensive.
the proprietary cooling
Oh.
we can't actually do ourselves. So
So then Radeon comes along. Let's get back to Radeon.
yes,
6000 series comes along and
yes,
shits on the pricing of the Nvidia cards.
craps hard, yeah.
And does pretty much the exact same performance. So let's look at the performance, shall we?
Yes. Okay, but in saying so, I have to start off with saying, remember, everybody out there, you know it, but just remember, these are cherry-picked games. These are games that are supposed to make AMD look like the best in the possible shape they could ever be in, right?
Yeah.
So
Let me get that on
the
nicely on screen.
scores, what are we looking at? The red is the AMD.
Red is AMD.
Red is AMD. So in 4K in Division, they're actually not doing so well. They're actually below the 3080 and below the 39. So they're below the 3080. The 6900 XT is.
Founders Edition.
What?
Founders Edition, which is interesting because the OC clocks from
Oh yeah, that doesn't look good at all.
no. So this doesn't look good. So this is okay. So sorry, we should actually give some context as to what these scores are.
Yeah.
These are leaked scores after the presentation.
Oh.
These are not the. I think that's what it says. Prepares release data. Additional benchmarks showing. Yeah. So these are additional benchmarks. You can find the benchmarks, catalogs, performance.
Okay.
Company.
Okay.
Here are
Question.
some benchmarks. You can see it doesn't always come out ahead. Okay. So this doesn't always come out ahead. They're saying this is available on the site. So they have released it post the.
Okay. Question.
Yeah.
Question. CPU. What are they using?
Doesn't say.
Okay, because I'd be interested to know, like, if this is using a Zen 2 or a Zen 3, because, you know, in their presentation, what if they're using the benchmarks they're showing us, they're actually using a Zen 3, but in the benchmarks that Nvidia was showing, they were using a Zen 2, which means if Nvidia uses Zen 3, their benchmarks are going to be even higher than those of Radeon.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I have a thought on that.
Yeah.
Hey Pog, welcome mate. We need to
Welcome.
wait for all cards to have a few months to mature drivers. Yes, and I'll talk about drivers in a moment. Moses says this is the worst chart of them all. This is the worst case scenario.
Is it though?
Is it? Yeah, how is it the worst case? Do let me know why you think
I'd be
that's the worst
interested
case
to
scenario.
know, yeah.
Okay. So, drivers wise, Nvidia's drivers are absolute trash right now. And they will get better. AMD's drivers will be trash when they come out too, and they will get better. So let's leave it at that for now. But AMD has one thing that they have up their sleeve, and that is that high fidelity thingy that they like 5% improvement on speed when you match it up with a.
Oh yes, of course, yeah. When you pair it up with a AMD CPU.
Yeah. So my question is this actually with pairing to a? It must be because it's AMD giving.
It was with AMD for sure because they're advertising their own product. But is it Zen 2 or Zen 3? And if it is Zen 3 and you're comparing that to Zen 2 scores of the 3080, 3090, then it's like, these cards are worse than we thought.
Yeah. So look, first of all, the good. It's 16 gigs of RAM,
Yeah.
which is a bit more future-proofed. It is only GDDR6 and not GDDR6X, so that's the big difference with RAM. The 3090 obviously has 24 gigs of RAM. But what's interesting here, especially in a 4K scenario on Division 2, is that the Founders Edition with 10 gigs comes ahead of the 6900 XT. But this is the worst case scenario, as was pointed out in the chat. So let's jump to the next. Any final thoughts on this one? I mean, this is very playable, by the way. 60 frames for the 6800, which is competing with the 3070.
Yeah.
The 6800 XT is competing with the 3070. I mean, that's...
Oh, well, the 6800 XT is actually supposed to be comparing with the 3080. And if we look at that, there's a big kind of performance difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
About like actually it's like 6 or 7 frames, really.
Joe, you mentioned the rage mode. Now, I've been out of AMD for a while.
That rage mode that they talked about.
What is rage mode?
Yeah, they enabled rage mode on XT models to make 6800 look worse. That's interesting.
Oh, right. You
Yeah.
mean the 6800? These
Yeah.
had rage mode.
So
That's why the big jump.
disparity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, good day. Time to fly. Welcome, mate.
Yeah, welcome.
Sam, smart access memory. What was that in regards to the? Oh, that's the other thing the cards now
Yes.
have this generation is that really fast access to SSD memory, which is exactly
Yeah.
what the consoles have. But
That's
so I guess what I was getting at. So the difference here between the XT and the 69 is actually quite small.
It is small.
It's only 5 frames or
smaller,
so.
smaller than I would. Yeah, than
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be because. Oh well, I mean, it is eight
QCs or
CUs.
CUs, yeah.
Yeah, compute units. So it's a very small difference. So that's why you got 10% more compute units, 10% more performance,
Yeah.
relatively speaking, right?
Yeah. But it's very close. I mean, the 6900 XT is very close to 10. But anyway, look, we need to move on to another one because this is just one puzzle.
Okay, yeah. Let's look
One
at
puzzle,
another.
yeah.
Let's look at another. Doom
Here we
Eternal.
go.
Okay.
Here's something more realistic.
Oh,
This is
that's
what
more like it. All right.
But-
all right.
Doom Eternal is a cherry picked for everybody.
Yeah.
It's such a well optimized game, and it runs so well, and it's so buttery smooth. So
I
the
think it's
3090,
also a good example because it's a brand new title that's very popular.
Yeah.
Everybody wants their hands on
And
it.
it's fast-paced.
Yeah, it's fast paced. So
and it's got
okay,
HDR.
this comparison, this is what I'm kind of expecting for everything. to be
Absolutely,
honest.
this
Yeah.
is my view. This is my view too.
Yeah.
They don't have a 3070 here, but it only released recently, so I suppose
Yeah.
maybe they'll update it.
I think it'll be in between that 2080 Ti and 6800. That's my hopes. It's kind
Yeah,
of,
it'll
fits
be
between.
in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6800 XT.
Yeah.
Below it, maybe above 68. But you
Yeah.
can see the difference is minute, and it's cheaper. It's $50 to $100 cheaper.
$50, yeah.
And it may mean that the stock is in stock, right? Why wouldn't you buy a 6900 XT when you only play Doom Eternal?
Oh yeah, Joe says the PowerPoint at the original presentation had it written down at the bottom in
Yeah.
relation to the SAM and the rage mode.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they had enabled or disabled. They're putting up the numbers here that are, I'm guessing these will be enabled. And the whole point is that people will use that feature by default
Yeah.
because they'll be like, well, hang on.
I want the best possible
Yeah,
performance
I
could
don't
get.
get
Yeah.
that. If there's a button that says more performance,
It's
why-
like the DLSS. It's like, yes, DLSS, I get so many more frames.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know it's not true 4K. Like, it's not the actual native.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
pixels in between that are doing their own thing.
Yeah, but why wouldn't I turn it on?
Yeah, exactly.
There's
I mean, you
rage mode. What?
probably won't see it. Like, your
Yeah.
eye won't actually capture the pixels that are
Yeah,
not falling in line
Yeah.
with...
But I think rage mode is much easier to decide to turn it on than DLSS. Like there's some games that I've like that the Ghost Runner one. I turned DLSS off
How
because
come? Why
because
did you
it looked nice without it. And I had
Okay,
higher
so you
frame
wanted
rates.
the true native
Yeah, true
look.
native look.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. This is good. Let's have a look at the next one. This is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We have GTX 3090 just below the 6900 XT, and that's interesting because that's
Wow, look at that. That's
That's
beautiful.
90.
It's like red gray, red gray, red
95, so about 5 frames difference.
gray. Yeah. Very small. So okay, so 2080 Ti, you're just over 60 FPS. You got the 6900 XT, you're close to that 100 FPS. And
Yeah.
what's this? Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am surprised. Oh my god, the 6900
Shocking,
is
isn't it?
actually beating the 3090.
Yeah.
What the hell? And this is my biggest question on this is what is the CPU that's being paired with?
Yeah.
Is the same CPU, identical CPU being paired across the board? And as you showed me that PowerPoint or that slide before, when we had the 3090 and the 3080 using the same CPU, the 3090 was actually performing worse than the 3080 because of the bottleneck in place.
That's right. If you guys
Yeah.
get a chance to rewatch this, earlier on we looked at some stats that I ran on my bottleneck CPU, and in the 3D Mark Time Spy, I got 12,000 on a 3080 and
Yeah.
10,000 on a 3090 because the CPU was bottlenecking. So I and you pointed this out, and I have to agree. we won't really know until we run it on a Zen 3. If we run tests on a 3090 and Zen 3.
Top tier Zen 3. And then my question again is, like, what if in 2 years' time we have a new release of the Zen 4 CPUs?
Yeah.
And then we use those CPUs with the GPU. Like, are we actually going to unlock even more potential of that GPU?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the CPU doesn't have a big impact until a certain generation leap.
Oh, right.
And after that leap, it'll sort of stabilize for a little while. Drivers will be a big leap. I think drivers will be like 2, 3, 4, 5% improvement over, the lifetime of the product.
Yes, even more so, I think, because like optimization of games, as we talk more and more and more so, we realize the percentage of that is like, it's like bigger and bigger. Like it's a big chunk of it. It's like 50% is like optimization in itself.
So right now, the 6900 XT and the 6800 XT look like really good purchases, especially because this is $500 less.
Yeah.
And this one is, I think it was $150 less or something?
What the
800 XT was?
6800 XT is $649 US.
Oh, so
the 6800 is about $579.
Oh, so it's only $50 difference between the.
Yeah, only $50 difference.
Right. But it's a big jump on the 6900 XT.
Yeah, it's $500 difference.
And look, the other thing is it obviously has also a lot more RAM. Like the actual like GPU RAM. So there is a cost to that.
Yeah.
So I think if it had 16 gigs 1-to-1, it might only be a $50 difference. But and remember, GDDR6X is a little bit more expensive at the moment.
And AMD has Smart Access Memory feature enabled. See, I wonder what that actually means in technical terms. What the actual
I wonder if it's... See, that's the thing. Like, I wonder how much effect it has on it. It'd be great. I am... You know what, Casper? I'm going to be a bit selfish here. I really wish you get the
6900 XT.
Yeah.
It's going to be a $2,000 card, guys.
Yeah.
Be prepared in Australia here, $2,000. Because if it's $500 US difference, and that was, what,
700.
Yeah, like 2,800 or so, right? Yeah. So, yeah, knock off $800, that's going to be the price.
Yeah.
So it's a $2,000 card.
I reckon...
I want to get
it. Do you know why? Because then we can do, like, some testing. We can do some testing.
Yeah, we can compare. So, but it only utilizes 300 watts, right?
350.
Not 300? I thought it uses the same as the 6800 XT.
I thought it used a little bit more. 6900 XT power draw.
Power draw, yeah. I thought it was 300 watt.
It is 300. Wow, okay.
Okay, so question from me to you is, will my 750 watt power supply actually be capable of
it would
running
be.
that?
Yeah, it would be
okay?
fine. Yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's this one? I wonder what this one is, what the 3090 is.
I think it's 350 watt.
350. Okay, so this one's 350 watt.
Yeah.
I thought they were both 350.
Yeah, Time to Fly says 300 watt. They're both 300 watt, and that's what's like amazing. Or is it amazing? I feel like it's amazing because of the capabilities, but it's only 8 additional compute units.
Well, that's right. It's okay. So AMD has done really well with power draw.
Yeah.
They've got the cards drawing a lot less. The GDDR6X has been overclocked a little bit more, I think, from my understanding, and is drawing a lot more power. This generation Nvidia has just kept the same power use as the last generation. I think the 10,000 series was such a much lower TDP that I think it was insane, like compared to the 900 series and the 700, 600 series before. So that that was a huge jump. So this generation was not a jump in power, but it was certainly a jump in performance, especially the RTX cores. That was a huge jump. It's almost double the performance of ray tracing. Right?
Yes, that was a huge jump, and it's probably why the GPU. I mean, it's probably why the Nvidia GPU is so hungry, but as well as the fact that they're not as efficient as well. That's why they're using so much power.
That's right. So it could be a software thing, though. It could be fixed with software potentially, maybe. But it could also be fixed with. Remember, the other thing is AMD's motherboards are the only ones with PCIe Express 4. We don't know what Intel's going to come out with next. If their CPUs are like crazy good and maybe they have some similar things to what AMD does with improving, connecting the CPU and the GPU and doing a bit of thing. Imagine if Intel did that.
I mean,
you never know.
I think we might actually be coming up to like another leapfrog effect where Intel's sitting back and thinking, okay, we got to think 2 or 3 steps ahead now.
Yeah.
So with what RDNA, they know with what RDNA 3 is coming out and with, Zen 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with Zen 4, you know, they got to think, okay, what kind of features are we going to utilize in the CPU? We know that the huge market of gamers, you know, we have that. So that's going to be the next thing. And they could surprise us and they could say, hey, we have these features. But, and also, I wonder, would they ever do like a partnership with Nvidia? Or are they going to do what AMD is doing where they have the Intel graphics cards and the Intel CPU and have like a pairing moment there as well? It's like, if you use our Intel GPUs with our CPUs, you're going to have like 5-10% boost. But I think that's a long way away because they're just getting into the GPU market. So we may actually see affordable mid-tier GPUs at the most in the next few years.
We will certainly see it. And that's the thing with the companies nowadays in this space is they have to add more than just raw power. So DLSS is like an value add, the RTX voice, AMD's smart access memory, and the rage mode. These are all add-ons that companies have to do to differentiate themselves in the market because it's getting all so similar. Because at some point, the two smartest people in those companies or the groups or whatever, the engineers, are going to get to the same point.
They might, right?
They're going to keep innovating, getting better and better, and it's going to get to the same bloody point where...
Because Nvidia, we can already tell, has influenced AMD to jump on the ray tracing bandwagon.
Yeah.
AMD's like, well, it seems to be really going well for them, and it's an awesome feature. We want it too. Yeah. But obviously it's not as, I want to say, efficient or not as amazing as Nvidia's.
One thing I'd like to add, none of this stuff says if it's got RTX on. None of these results.
See, that was the big elephant in the room when I was watching the presentation. They were staying clear of that. I mean, Lisa Su did talk about, ray tracing, but they were like, let's not talk about it because it's not that good.
They were really, really holding back on that, and I'm really keen to see why.
Yes.
I imagine if that gets halved if they turn RTX on.
I mean, when we looked at the leaked scores between the RTX of the Nvidia and the AMD, there was a huge percentage difference. It was like 40% or something like that, which is a huge disparity. This is why they didn't want to show it.
No, and this is all DX12, by the way. DX12 is only just coming to maturity. Microsoft is really bad with their DirectX APIs. Bad, sorry. Each generation isn't that big of a difference. It just allows more features to be used, and they've just been tacking on features.
Yeah.
So this one here is Resident Evil 3, 4K, DX12, and the 3090 comes out on top by, 5 frames or so. You can see the XT is just underneath it. Then you've got the Founders Edition there at 120 frames. And then you've got the last RX 6800 XT and non-XT.
Wow. I can hear the comments. Yeah, I see the comments that the 6800 is actually going to be quite popular. Like, a lot of people are keen on that. And I think the price isn't too bad. Was it $579 USD? So it's going to be about 1,100 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
Probably with the entry level cards.
Yep.
And then, up to like 1,600 or something crazy like that with their super overclocked editions. I think, that might be quite a popular card if it just manages to beat the 3070 by like 10%, 5 to 10%.
Yeah. And if I was an AIB partner, I'd be so excited about this. How we finally have competition and people are going to be flocking to these products. Vincentio says, hello mate, says RDNA 3 will be 50% better in performance per watt compared to RDNA 2 according to AMD's financial conference earlier this year.
Wow.
And Graham says, next gen for AMD is huge improvement. Next will sure be huge AMD and taking a massive strides at the moment. Sorry, I think I read that completely wrong, but we've seen, I haven't seen those slides, but I've read some articles about it. I would say take that with a large grain of salt.
Yeah. Because
Nvidia is not sitting still. They got a big kick in the butt this generation.
They did. And they're like, all right, it's time for the TI series, boys. And they'll be like, 10% more powerful than the 6800. I don't
think they were expecting Nvidia to be so so competitive, and
Yeah.
they will not. They're going to be punching down real hard.
Real hard.
Jensen
with the
is
next
not
generation.
a person to take things lying down. He likes to take
Exactly.
him in the kitchen with
Yes.
an oven mitts.
Yeah. Jensen's gonna get cooking, bro.
He's going to get
He's
cooking.
gonna get cooking. But you know what got me thinking? Okay, this was what I thought was quite interesting. With the architecture that the RDNA2 has, and the fact that they're using such low wattage on these graphics cards,
Sure.
they were capable, or they still are, hypothetically capable of absolutely crushing Nvidia. And I'm not just talking 5-10%. I'm talking 20-30% in performance. I'm talking massive leaps, because they can really crank this thing up if they want to. But they didn't. They were very conservative.
Didn't
their
they
power.
though? Didn't they though? Because it's not always power. Because power draw is because remember look. I think the reason Nvidia is not they're using so much power is because of their chips had to be done with Samsung, and the dies are terrible.
Yes.
And I think next generation, if they do with TCMC,
Yeah.
they will be much better performing chips with lower
Yeah.
power, because that's what AMD's got. They've got TSMC chips,
Yes.
and they had the
Far more reliable.
AMD also had a bit of help from Microsoft and Sony. Let's be frank.
Yeah, that was also an interesting question, because it's like, who was in charge here? Was AMD running the show, was saying this is what we're going to do? Or did Sony and Microsoft have some thoughts of their own to be like, hey, if we actually do this and that, it could improve performance? And,
They
did they
certainly did.
actually get together and be like, hey,
Yeah.
if we do this, we didn't think about it that way. Like,
You had 3 companies working on
Yeah.
this. Sure, they were working on it for their own benefit, but overall, the tide rose
Yeah.
for AMD, and that's why this generation they were able to compete and win.
But look, I genuinely think that AMD was able to do a lot better than what they did. And I think that maybe they didn't because they haven't given it enough time to test the product.
You reckon they rushed it a little bit?
They did in terms of last minute tweaks. Like, yes, we talked about, in previous episodes how both companies have spies and they know what's what.
Yeah.
But last minute, when Jensen gets up there on stage, they know, okay, these are the confirmed and final clocks that we're going with. These are the watts that we're going with. This is the memory that we're going with. So, therefore, it always made sense that AMD was going second and they were going to respond to it, but they were going to tweak things last minute as well to be able to compete, and they didn't want to overcompete too much.
Yeah.
And overcommit, because these things haven't been tested for weeks and months.
Sure.
They haven't, and they know that if they go to 2.4 gigahertz frequencies, which is supposedly the limit of the RDNA2 architecture, that they will have recalls, and that will be the worst for the stock price, that will be the worst for their sales, and that would tank their reputation, and they're already skating on thin ice.
Wow.
So they had to be conservative, and they had to go, okay, we're just going to try to match these guys blow for blow, so that way if our cards go out there, they need to be reliable.
Sure.
We cannot afford to have these cards to be recalled.
Yeah.
We cannot. So I think this is why they went down that route.
Wow. Okay.
It's got you thinking, right?
It's got me thinking, and I think this is probably a much longer conversation.
Yeah.
A couple of comments here. So I have not much to say to that. I can't. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I have nothing to. Yeah.
The reputation was at stake, but I think now that they're going to have this breathing room, this is where the danger comes in for Nvidia.
Yeah, but see, Nvidia also will deliver. Like, they're not stupid.
No, and they're gonna respond, and this is where it's going to be a bit. I think the response will take some time. I think because if Nvidia's doing their own tweaking with the re-release or the refresh models of the 3070 and the 3080, I think they may take a little bit of time.
If I was them, I'd just concentrate on getting more stock to people and getting the 3060 and repricing that, and then slowly repricing the 3080s to be on par with AMD, and then not putting a TI. I think they cancelled. We talked about it last week. They cancelled that. I would seriously just start working on the next generation. Couple of comments.
Slightly off topic, but any chance of the Xbox and PS5 reviews in the future, Pat? Question mark.
So the man of the hour is Casper in regards to the PlayStation 5. Do you want to share your news?
Oh yes, guys, some good news. Apart from all the bad apocalyptic news that we got in 2020, I actually got an email from Harvey Norman last night, and I was sharing this with Pat. And my heart skipped a beat because I was like, oh my god, oh no, a delay or whatever.
Yeah.
But they said to me, they were like, hey, just letting you know, the PS5 is on track and you're going to get it on the 12th of November on release date. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
So I think Pog sort of to answer your question. Oh, sorry, time to fly. To answer your question, I think the review will be done by Casper.
Yeah, and I'll try to do my best to do a review. Maybe we'll have like a special appearance from Tech Pat
I'd love to come in and be the hand model.
Yeah, exactly. The hand model and the back of the head model as you're looking at the screen and playing the game.
Maybe what we might even do is maybe if you do the review and then come on stream and do like a 5-minute mini review,
a recap
review, and then we'll link to that video. I think that'll be nice.
Yeah.
I
should do one of the Series X.
I'm considering it. Yeah. I want it.
So cool.
Okay. The only way I'm gonna get convinced to do it, actually 2 ways, is if somebody manages to put Windows 10 on it, I'll buy it. If there's hackers who go, yep, we can now install Windows 10, I'm buying it.
Yeah, like
because
sweet.
Anytime we want to go on holiday, I'm just gonna be like, boom, got an Xbox, it's got Windows 10 on it, off I go.
Got my box.
And you're gonna do an unboxing, of course?
Yes, I'll do an unboxing. I already had some thoughts about what I'm gonna do. Yep.
So, unfortunately, I won't be doing it. I'll be at work when he gets it on the 12th.
Let's just hope it doesn't go all 2020 Cyberpunk. Yeah, well,
but that weekend, we'll do the stream at yours, and you can do a first impressions and overview with the. Great idea. We can like stream stuff and say, hey, this is I think it'll be cool. So look forward to that. Yeah, make sure you're subscribed.
Yes,
mostly everybody here, so that's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Time to Fly says fantastic news, unboxing and initial impressions. Yep, that'll happen. And Pog says, "Woo, let's just hope it doesn't go all 2020 delay Cyberpunk style."
Oh god, I know. Oh god.
Did you guys?
Cyberpunk.
Did it hurt?
Oh god, that hurt quite a bit.
Yeah.
But actually, it got me a bit excited. I won't lie.
Why?
Because I thought to myself, that gives me more time to get a new GPU because I want to experience this game in the best possible format.
Yeah.
Right? So I got a bit excited, and I was like frantically laughing because I was like, yes, this is the miracle that I've been asking for, I've been waiting for. So if I can get the right GPU, and if I can experience this game, and what if this game is ultra mega demanding and we'll be playing it at like 50 frames or something? That's what I wonder.
Okay. First of all, we need to get Graham subscribe to Casper, so I'm going to get that link. But I want to say something very controversial.
Yeah.
The PlayStation version and Xbox version of Cyberpunk is ready.
It is ready. I reckon it's gonna run at 1080 at the most, 1080p. I reckon.
On the Xbox?
At like 30 frames. Maybe they'll have a 60 frame mode on the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. But I don't know, man. That looks like a very. But okay.
The new generations are the ones that are holding back. They're delaying.
Yeah.
The game. So
they are, yes.
Some people sent death threats to the Cyberpunk developers, which is just absolutely stupendous.
Don't do that. Yeah. And thank you so much, Graham, for subbing.
Yeah, it's just insane. Thanks, Graham.
And everybody else that has already subbed, thank you so much.
Yeah. So it's incredible that people think that it's okay to send death threats to developers who are literally
I don't get that. Don't do it.
Working their ass off to create a game like.
And if you're gonna leave it in anybody's hands to optimize a game, CD Projekt Red is the one to do it. I mean, they put Witcher 3 on a Switch.
This is insane. This is one company where you just send it to EA Games.
Yeah. I think EA Games deserves it more than
I'm joking.
else. No, don't do it to anybody.
YouTube, don't take me down.
Yeah.
But honestly,
Don't do
the one company who should certainly not be getting that kind of treatment
is CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, and I understand people are upset, but we've been waiting 7 years. 3 weeks
yeah.
isn't gonna kill you. Well, maybe, I don't know.
And I mean, do you want it to be a faulty product? Because I know CD Projekt Red doesn't. They don't want the backlash. They preferred the backlash of, hey, it's being delayed, as opposed to, hey, this game sucks, I'm gonna give it back to the store and get my money back.
And they've done some really cool memes around. Oh, cool, really funky memes. They said they had a tweet the day before telling a guy that go ahead, nothing's being delayed. And then and they replied to a tweet saying, "Do you reckon anybody would notice if we deleted this?" So I think at the end of the day, it's not the worst news, but it certainly isn't the best. But it is the consoles which are holding us back. Apparently, they only got the PlayStation, the Sony dev kit 4 months ago.
That would make sense. They are a third party.
Yep.
Client or whatever you want to call them, third party developer. So they are one of the last to get it, I think.
Yeah.
Actually the indie developers will be the last.
Yeah.
But first party studios probably got it maybe 2 years before. And actually, just a little bit off topic, but connecting with that. Yep. So Demon Souls, because they're
like Demon Souls, yeah.
Blue Point Games. Wait, Blue Point Games is first party, right?
Yes.
I want to say, okay, their first party was Sony.
Yep.
And they said it took them 3 years to develop this next-gen game. And I don't even think they got a dev kit until maybe a year into development, at least. That they got like the first initial version of the dev kit to be like, guys, this is what it's going to be. You can optimize it now for the next-gen console.
Look, I'm not a developer, and I'm only talking offhand from a mate who is a game developer, and they said that a lot of the stuff that they do that takes a lot of time is just creating the assets, and that doesn't require a game engine, nor does it require a dev kit, because creating the assets, you create them in the 3D design systems that you do, whether it's for 3D Max or whatever, Blender, whatever it might be. And you can, and most of the engines will support importing from those systems. What takes a lot longer is putting it all together, but you do need the engine and you need a dev kit to test. But once it's, because remember, they would have received software and information about the system at some point anyway.
Yeah, I like this quote from NAVI: "A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad." Shigeru Miyamoto. Is that a real quote? Because I'm like, wow, it's so like philosophical.
I've heard it before. No, he's the
he's the Japanese guy. Video game designer.
He's Nintendo.
Okay, wow.
I've heard the name before.
I love that quote. That is definitely one to live by the developers. And I also agree with you, Graham, that I feel for the devs for all this crunch time, especially leading up to Christmas.
Yeah.
In the back of our minds, we think, hey, will these guys actually get some breathing room when it comes to Christmas? And the reality is they might not, because they'll continually keep working on the game and patching it. But, they may get a little bit of time off with the family and friends, but then they're going to be working through nonstop.
Well, Christmas is really important to the Poles, so I expect them to get that day off. And actually, I think they do so Christmas Day in Australia, we do the Christmas Eve as the sort of special day where we're all off and we're just cooking all day. But, there will be a point, there'll be some skeleton crews who are like, I'm happy to work through, whatever, get paid. But most of the people will take time off. They'll have to. I mean, there's already been some not unionization, but there's already been talks of them trying to unionize because of the treatment of developers, like during crunch time. But it is crunch time. It is a project. It's a contracted project almost, to the point where you have to finish it on a certain date, the delivery date, and they get paid overtime. From what I understand. Yeah.
They also get a percentage of the profits, so it's actually a big incentive for it to be the best success possible, because I think they get like a certain percentage of the profits actually get poured down into the developers.
That's right.
That's a statement that was put out by CD Projekt Red themselves, by their, I think is Andrzej something, is the Polish guy, Baginski or something like that. I don't know.
Of course it's Baginski.
It's something ski. Yeah, it's Polish last name.
So look,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they are going to get compensated fairly well. Actually, I think compensation-wise, CD Projekt Red does take care of their employees, and yes, there's crunch time, but any job has that.
Yeah.
And look, nobody. No, look, nurses do a lot of time. They also complain about the working hours and stuff like that. But you don't see them getting death threats really. Like it's not. Nobody's. There's no business is perfect, but when you have to do something, you have to do it. And I don't think CD Projekt is the worst for working conditions at all. I just don't think that they are the worst out there.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think if more than anything, the managers probably go to them and say, please, 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 can you work? Like, if you have a family emergency, whatever, we understand, but we need you on board. This is very important. And they probably, they compensate them accordingly.
And one other thing that I sort of learned over the years is if a company treats you well, you'll do right by the company and work those extra hours without being, sure, you won't be unhappy. You won't be happy about it. Nobody's happy about it doing overtime. But you go, oh, look, they've been really good to me, taking care of me. And I will work those extra hours to sort of, I'm still getting paid, but I will work those extra hours. And then you get a company that treats their employees really badly. And it's like, why should they work more extra hours? And it's a lot of journalists make this stuff up. A lot of journalists look for these hit pieces
they do, yeah.
to create this view that, this company's doing all this crunch time. Let's get all the social justice warriors. It's like, no,
you're
reality.
You're absolutely right. Like me working for a big corporation as well, when there are big, when the news come out and the headlines come out that, conditions are horrible, workers hate it. And I look at it and I talk to my colleagues and I say, this is not true. Like, where are they getting this from? I mean, there was probably one or two disgruntled employees.
Yeah.
But everybody else likes who they work for. They respect their bosses respect them. And it's a good environment. And it's the, like you said, it's the journalists that look for a way to, make something exciting, like make some exciting news out of it. Yeah.
Joe says, so I know about Jim Sterling. I've watched a bunch of his videos and I saw that they were on there. I still have to sit down and watch the full thing, but...
Oh, I don't know what that is.
So Jim Sterling's a bit of like I would say like a little bit of an internet cop.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He kind of takes on topics of certain... So he takes on topics and events of certain types that are usually have negative connotations because somebody's doing not the right thing.
I'll be interested to watch that actually.
Yeah, Joe, if you can just link that'd be great. I'm sure a lot of other people would be keen to say it. But I will again say it. A few bad apples doesn't make the whole tree bad. There will be some people at CD Projekt Red, probably one or two, a handful of people that might have a bad experience with a manager. And they're going to be like, somebody might contact them and be like, do you want to comment? They'll be like, oh, hell yeah, I hate my manager. I'm going to comment.
Possible, yeah.
But it's probably because they just don't work well with the manager. And if they had a nice manager, it would have probably been fine because everybody else is fine.
There's so many things to take into consideration, like the relationship, they may not gel well. And some people, they may genuinely not actually be pulling their weight.
Yeah.
And therefore, they're getting performance managed and all of that, and then when they leave the company, you were the worst possible. It's like, well, maybe you just weren't the fit for us.
Okay, so each company has a bit of a culture, and if you don't fit in that culture, you're not going to work well there, and you're going to be unhappy. And this is a conversation came out recently about UBI, so Universal Income Protection.
UIB?
Or universal income, UI or UIB or whatever it is. Meaning that a country provides the minimum required amount of money paying you to live without having to work, right? So it'll be enough to pay your bills, get food, petrol, sort of the minimums in life. But you won't be going buying a 3090 or a 3080 because you just won't have the money. But the big thing about that is a lot of companies take advantage of people because those people don't have anything to fall back on. They don't have savings. They don't have that protection for parents, not wealthy parents. Yeah. Where they can't just be like, oh, well, I don't like working here. I'm going to go find another job. Now, if you had something like universal income, you employers all of a sudden go, crap, universal basic income. Thank you, okay. UBI. Thank you.
Yeah.
At some point, employers will be like, holy shit. If we don't treat our employees well, they'll just leave. Because there's no reason for them to work for us. Because they can just they'll struggle to get people to work for them if they don't change the way they behave and treat their employees. Why would you work at a company that you hate when you can search for another job? Because people want to work. People want to work. That's not a thing.
They genuinely want to. Yeah, they want to bring in the money. They want to. They want to buy 3080s and 3090s.
Yeah, well, they do, and that's the thing. Like we're a society that likes to spend money, and people work, and people will do different jobs. There'll be different types of jobs created out of it. And look, there's a lot of things against it. Basic income could bankrupt the country, but at the end of the day, when you're on universal basic income, you can't buy anything fun. You can't do much. You can just live. That's pretty boring, and a lot of people will be like, oh crap, maybe I'll just pick up a part-time job. Well, all of a sudden, you'll have two people in the same position rather than one. And all of a sudden, the people are going to be enjoying life. Maybe they'll start spending more in cafes because they've got more time to do that. They've got more time to spend at home. They might even pick up a new education or a new skill that might help move society forward. Anyway, we're really detracting here. What I was getting at is, if something like that comes into place, companies will actually have to fight to have a good employee, and they will create good conditions, because otherwise they won't have employees to do and make money.
So the moral of the story is the RDNA2 GPUs are going to be great.
So sure. Hey Chris.
Hi Chris. Welcome.
We're just about to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was very much AMD heavy and very heavy on the political side.
And
sorry about that.
I think we need to, as always, when you hear everybody say, wait for the reviews or wait for a bit more information about these GPUs before we jump on board. Yes, I think we're sold for the most part that these are going to compete very well with Nvidia's Ampere GPUs.
Yep.
And the big plus is the fact that, lower power consumption and all that extra VRAM, which you yourself have been testing out Watch Dogs at the 3.5K or 3K, and it was using up a lot of VRAM, wasn't it?
A lot of VRAM.
It was like 9-10 gigabytes?
9.5?
9.5?
9.5, yeah.
9.5, yeah. But that was obviously, we know that's only allocation.
Yeah.
But that just tells you something, that moving into the future, into the next 2 or 3 years, 4K gaming is actually going to eat a lot of VRAM. So just be prepared for that. Maybe the 3080s might struggle just a little bit. So
thank you very much. Time to fly. Thank you. Go the All Blacks. Absolutely. Thanks Pog. Thanks for jumping in. Graham, Lamel, Bell, Chris. Sorry man, I think you jumped in a bit late, but we are doing well. The All Blacks are playing right now, I think, or have been playing. I think I missed it. Golden Hen, thanks for that. Joe, Andre, Nafi, good to see you, mate. Did I miss anybody? Pokemon Theatre. I didn't read your comment.
Yeah.
I got an AA launch console at EB for the PlayStation 5. Sort of like what I had to go to JB for a Series X, and it's Wave 2. They don't know anything about Wave 2 orders.
Wave 2 orders. I wonder if those are the December releases, maybe.
I think they are,
Yeah, they might be December releases.
Vincentio, thanks for jumping in. And Patrick Davis, not me. Thank you very much, guys. Catch you all next week. Hang on. Next week is not the PlayStation 5 yet, right?
No, that's the week after. It's the Thursday, the 12th of November.
So in 2 weeks' time, expect to see a live show with a PlayStation sitting in between us. PlayStation 5.
Absolutely.
That'll be fun. Thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you all in another one.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.